Welcome to another day, a new day, a beautiful day. There was a time when one of the seekers had asked Sri Bhagavan, Bhagavan, what is awakening? When do I know I am awakened? And then Bhagavan had gone on to say him, awakening is a never-ending unfoldment in consciousness. Dear friends, today Amma and Bhagavan are going to take you forward and onward onto yet another crucial issue of life. Let us take an analysis of human life. There are essentially two kinds of people in the world, those whom we perceive to be successful and those whom we think are failures. What would you call somebody who in trying to appease everyone, who in trying to please everyone, has wasted a lot of opportunities in life, who has wasted a lot of time, and at the end of 30, 40 years, lands up not creating securities, financial security or otherwise, for those who love him or for those who are dependent on him. Successful or failures? These two are comparatively easy to say. But then there is a third question. Think this over. What would you call somebody who's dedicated all his life towards creating great wealth, towards creating tremendous securities for the family, but yet in the process has ruined his or her health? By the end of their lifetime, their body is a mess. They don't have energy. They have become sick. They don't have vitality. What would you call this person? Would you call this person successful, or would you call this person a failure? They have never given much serious thought to the human body itself. That has been one of those things which you become conscious of only when it hurts you most. Only when the body is in pain, you have brought attention to it. Do you know that recent research by Food and Health Department of India revealed a particular insight? That is, just 100 years ago, world over and even in India, more than 5,000 varieties of plants were being consumed as food. But 100 years later today, they're essentially consuming only 100 varieties of plant foods. And among them, the most craziest part of the detail is that 80% of the cultivation is being done on 20 varieties of crops. What a shrinking of variety and what a loss to the human body. Do you think we are capable, the human body is capable of adapting to such a major shift in just a span of a few decades? Is the human body capable and equipped to handle this kind of a shift in our diet and yet maintain health? Well, let us listen to what Sri Bhagavan has got to say this week to us on the health of humanity, on where humanity is actually going.
Daivam Sharanam Gacchami.
Throughout evolution, there have been challenges. Numerous species have responded and survived. When they did not respond to the challenges adequately, they perished. That is why quite a number of species have become extinct today. The human species has till date responded to these challenges and travails, and they survived. But now, the challenge seems to be coming from every quarter, most of them either directly or indirectly, from humankind itself. The civilization that we have created has become too complex to deal with. What we have created has taken over. The stress born of gargantuan greed, the alienation that runs as an undercurrent in civilization, the glorified sense of self, extreme individualism and violence have become the great challenges of our times. All these have risen from a divisive consciousness and are proving to be grave threats and insurmountable challenges. The technology that is born of avarice, the various systems of medicine that are born not of a holistic understanding of the body and its place in the universe, but those that have emerged from the knowledge of more and more about less and less have become impediments to progress. We cannot find solutions to the problems from this same state of mutilated consciousness. There needs to be a paradigm shift in our consciousness to remedy this situation. Without this shift, the future ahead of us is ominous and threatening. We are currently witnessing the possibility of a gigantic economic breakdown. In the coming years, there is a very great possibility of a large-scale breakdown of the immune system, and this future is not very far away. We already see signs of sickness everywhere. Not a few decades ago, a majority of people could lay claim to health. Now, healthy individuals are but a tiny minority. The stress, the lifestyle adopted, the atmospheric pollution, medication, and the food we eat, our unhealthy emotional states, all combined are leading our bodies to a point of no return. Scientists world over are predicting antibiotics will fail to work on the human body in the coming years. More germs and viruses that humanity has assumed to be subdued and conquered will come back. In the future, we may not require the big diseases to incapacitate people. It could be ordinary bacteria and viruses like flu that may affect humanity. However, our future will not only be plagued by problems alone, but extraordinary breakthroughs also are within reach, especially in the field of medicine and biotechnology. We have cloned many animals, and coming to the human body, we have successfully created the first trachea using stem cells from the affected body. We are on the verge of discovering a cure for major ailments like AIDS and cancer. We have managed to slow down the aging process in certain animals. What is done to animals today could be done to humans tomorrow. However, all these changes would take another decade to reach the general public. At this juncture, confronting us are two major issues. One, what can we do to survive and survive healthy until we meet this new technologically advanced future? How do we move towards a life of greater health, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? Two, the second issue that confronts us requires a deeper solution. How do we, as a race, progress towards being universal and cooperative and not dogmatic and self-centered? This technology's safest and most beneficial use is possible only by a race that has transcended its inner violence. It is ultimately a question of transformation that lies ahead of us. What are you going to do?
Sri Bhagavan said, what we have created has taken over, and the civilization we have created has become too complex to deal with. Can there be a more true statement? We, that is humanity, have created this civilization, the complexity of this civilization, and now there seems to be no way that we can reverse this process and decide collectively that we are going to live a simple life. Not possible, because your children want a life that is complex, your family wants to live in the city, everybody has so many desires. We all collectively have created a monster, and now, whether we like it or not, we have to go with it. And the result is our ailing health. Among the many things that we are seeing right now, one of the things that Sri Bhagavan said just now is that currently we are witnessing one of history's greatest economic breakdown. Everybody is reeling under the impact of this gigantic economic breakdown. And what is to come next is going to be a major health breakdown, predict scientists of the world. And when this happens, what is going to be the condition of our bodies. We cannot tell ourselves that the economic breakdown happened in some parts of the world and we are not really feeling the pinch of it actually. So the health breakdown also could happen to somebody else. No. Human body is one, and the predicament of human body world over is going to be similar, predict the scientists. They are telling that just a few more years from now, antibiotics are not going to work. Imagine the condition. And what else did Bhagavan say? Bhagavan said that it is not about the deadly diseases that you have to fear. Common, insignificant diseases that you think you have already conquered are going to become a real menace. What would you do? Is it going to be that the entire human race has been conquered and won over by a few bacilli and a few viruses? Is that the place we are going to? And ponder over this statement of Sri Bhagavan also. Just a few decades ago, there were definitely a large number of people who could lay claim to health. But today, there is but a very, very tiny minority of people who can really say they are healthy. You walk on the road, at random you meet a stranger and you ask him, how is your health? He may probably tell you, I'm keeping fine. But then you talk to him, he'll definitely tell you, everything is fine except my back. All things are okay except my head. Everything is okay except the irritation I have on throat. The world is a sick place. And if this sickness is going to grow, where are we going to go? If this is the sad part of the story, Sri Bhagavan also told us that there is a silver lining to this cloud. That within 10 years from now, we should be seeing tremendous technological advances in the field of medicine. We are seeing that so many animals are being cloned. And recently, we also saw the first trachea being created by using the stem cells of the affected person. That's what we saw. So maybe very soon a time will come when organs will be available for purchase. Today I have a bad heart. 10 years I hold on and then maybe I can get a new heart. For all these things to get into the mainstream, for these things to be available to every man and every woman, it is still going to take around a decade. What about the meanwhile? We are seeing year after year a degeneration in the health condition of humanity. Much research is not being published to the world because it could frighten the ordinary man. We are seeing that we need a temporary solution. We need a temporary health solution that can really keep us going over the next 10 years at least. That would keep us healthy, that would keep us alive and kicking for the next few years. Is there a system like that? And given the technology is going to advance and that there would be a lot of discoveries, but think of this statement made by Einstein. Einstein said that humanity has created problems from one particular state of consciousness and we cannot find solutions from the same state of consciousness. And Bhagavan calls this present state of consciousness a mutilated consciousness. The well-being not only of the human race, but of all animal life and also of plant life. If this has to happen, there has to be a real fundamental shift in human consciousness itself. So, Sri Bhagavan is asking you, what is the solution? Is there a way we can create this fundamental shift in human consciousness? Number one. And secondly, how do we manage our bodies, our health, over the next 10 years? What are you planning to do? In the coming weeks, in the Anugrah Diksha Health Series, Sri Amma and Sri Bhagavan would be giving you deep insights into health. We would also be leading you through tiny little processes that you can go through while still watching them at home. But if you really want a great solution, then you should be attending one of our programs at the Oneness University called the Oneness Health Course. The Oneness Health Course, or the Arogya Diksha as it is called by the majority Indians. That is where you would get a total idea of what oneness approach is towards health. That we are not going to be discussing sickness or a particular form of illness or a particular disease. What we will be discussing is health. Our focus is going to be health and a return to health. In this context, a small little exercise for you that you could do until we meet next week. The human body is the mirror. It is reflecting whatever is happening in the mind. If only we can turn our attention to the body, then we would have a tremendous awareness about what we are doing with our mind and how our mind is torturing our body as well. If you have watched, there are a lot of people, when you're talking to them, their eyes never look at you. They're all the time looking this way, this way. They're never looking at you straight. Why? The eyes can't lie. The eyes are telling you, hey, do you know you are uncomfortable with what is going on within? You do not have the courage to confront the truth inside you. You're never in the habit of looking straight at anything. That is why your eyes are looking that way and this way. You can never look straight at anybody. You can never look straight and speak to anyone. What kind of message is your body giving you? And there are some other people, when you see them walk, you know what their mind is going through and what kind of a torture the mind is giving to their bodies. They walk like this. The body is absolutely hunched. Your shoulders are telling you, your spine is telling you that you don't have confidence to live. There is no energy to live. There is no zest to living. Observe your body and you will know what is happening to you. Observe your body and you will know the kind of torture you're giving your body veritably. Watch your body. And there are so many of them. You're talking to them. Every 1 minute, they're making some uneasy noises with their throats. Do you see them making that noises? Do you make them? If you are, you must know that is because you're uncomfortable with something within yourself. You're not comfortable with some aspect of yourself. Please understand, a return to health is possible only when you can take a holistic approach. That is why Sri Bhagavan told us today, the kind of medicine that we have created is one that is born of specialists. Specialists are people who know more and more about less and less. In the heart, for the heart there is a specialist. In the heart there is a valve, and for that there is a specialist. And the specialist does not know about the whole. He is only concentrating on the part. And he treats the part and doesn't take care of what happens to the whole. If you really want a return to health, you not only address the body, you also address your mind, you address your emotions, you address your pranic body. This is a whole new science of living. So watch out. See how your body is moving into abnormal, awkward positions. You don't want to talk something. There are some people who never express their ideas to anybody. They're always covering their mouths. Always. When they're listening to somebody, they're covering their mouths. Somehow their fingers are near the mouth. Why? Because the mind is imposing that limitation on the body. The mind is saying, be careful, don't talk. Or don't give your ideas, the other fellow is a fool, they can't understand. Or be careful about talking. Watch your body and you will know a lot about yourself. At least become conscious of what's happening within yourself. Take this exercise over the next 1 week. Watch out for these traits. Ask people you know to help you out. Ask your family members to help you out. It's okay if somebody pointed out the awkwardness that is there in your body, because if you faced it, if you confronted it, who knows, you might discover something that has escaped your attention all your life. And confronting it could really take you forward towards living a very, very healthy life. So I wish you great awareness until we meet next week. Thank you.
Sri Amma's Divya Mangala Darshan till February 9th. From 8 am to 11 am every day. All devotees have to collect their own tokens before 8 am at Satyalok. Entry free for all.